Welcome to episode 223 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm your host and fellow student, Michelle Nelson, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so we can better understand our options and build quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. If you're looking at multiple neighborhoods or lots on which to build your new house, there may be some areas on the outskirts of the city that might interest you, but require you to have a septic system. Having some basic knowledge of septic systems and how they compare with city sewer systems can help you in making a decision about whether a lot needing a septic system could be right for you. Sewer systems are more common and usually preferred because they're funded and maintained by local governments. But as people move further away from cities, septic systems are becoming more popular. About 1 in 5 U.S. households use septic systems. Septic systems are environmentally friendly and give homeowners full control over their drainage. Plus, being open to lots that require a septic system gives you so many more possibilities for your home site, especially those sites in rural areas. Many people are apprehensive about the costs and maintenance involved with a septic system. But does a septic system really cost more and require frequent maintenance? That's one of the things we'll talk about today. And if you fall in love with a lot needing a septic system, this episode will help you decide whether to put that lot on your short list of possible home sites or whether to scratch it off your list altogether. Before we move into the mini lesson, let's go over a few pro terms. The pro terms are septic tank, effluent, and drain field. Septic tank. A septic tank is a buried, watertight container usually made of concrete, steel, fiberglass, or polyethylene. It holds wastewater from your house long enough to allow solids to settle down to the bottom, forming sludge, while oil and grease float to the top as scum. The average septic tank holds about 1,000 gallons of water. Next is effluent. It's effluent with an E, not affluent, meaning wealthy, with an A. Effluent, spelled E-F-F-L-U-E-N-T, is a fancy word for the liquid part of the wastewater that's been processed in a septic system or a sewage treatment plant. And finally, drain field. Drain field is a part of the septic system. It's a network of pipes, trenches, gravel, and soil. The pipes extend from the septic tank and have holes in them to allow effluent liquid to drip and flow through. The pipes are laid inside trenches that are filled with gravel. The perforated pipes and gravel work in the filtration process. Soil surrounds the entire drain field area. Septic drain fields, also called leach fields or leach drains, are used to remove contaminants and impurities from the water effluent that's released from the septic tank. So those were our pro terms: septic tank, effluent, and drain field. Before moving to the mini lesson, I have so many shouts out and thank yous to give this week. We've gotten several really awesome Apple Podcasts 5-star ratings and reviews. Thank you for being nice enough to publicly share your kind words and positive feedback. Your reviews, they're such nice encouragement for me, and they're a reminder that the work and time I put in for the shows are making a difference. Thank you so much, Russ9495, EC7508, Captain Sly, NJ Cells, and Surfer1. I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. Okay, on to the lesson. Most of the information in the show comes from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency at epa.gov and mrrooter.com. So, exactly what is the difference between a sewer system and a septic system? In general, a sewer system and septic system have very similar functions. Both systems filter out black water and gray water. Black water is simply toilet water that you flush, and gray water is the water that comes from the drains of sinks, showers, and appliances. Both sewer and septic systems degrade bacteria and infectious pathogens from water before it flows back into the environment. Basically, both systems collect and process wastewater. Now, there are obviously some differences between sewer and septic systems, so let's compare the two. Starting with the more commonly utilized system, sewer systems. Sewer systems have lines that carry wastewater to city-owned treatment facilities. The facilities remove contaminants and then discharge water back into local water supplies. A sewer system connects whole communities to one centralized drain field. Any problems that affect the centralized drain field can affect several homes connected to that drain field. Luckily, problems with sewer systems are rare in most areas. Having wastewater conveniently sent to one big treatment center is an attractive option to many homeowners. Since sewage systems are managed and maintained by local governments, homeowners don't have to be concerned with the workings of sewer drainage components, but they do have to pay the city a monthly or quarterly fee to take care of the system. Yearly sewage fees differ from city to city, but here are some examples of annual sewage fees from around the country. In Boston, Massachusetts, the annual sewage fee is $832. Chandler, Arizona pays $612 per year. Lemoyne, Pennsylvania, $651 per year. In Little Rock, Arkansas, the annual fee is $450 per year. In addition, homeowners can be charged pricey fees for installation of newly established sewer systems. Many communities even impose what's known as a sewer betterment fee, which can cost thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. Properties located in sparsely populated areas will pay the highest betterment fees because with smaller amounts of taxpayers who reside in those areas, there are fewer people to share the betterment fee. Now, even if your house is located in an area where sewage pipes and pumps have been in place for many years, you'll still have to pay a fee that involves linking your new build to a nearby sewage system. The cost of a sewage connection can range from hundreds to thousands of dollars, and that's on top of the monthly maintenance and usage fees you'll have to pay the city. Okay, so that was municipal or city-owned sewer systems. Now let's talk about septic systems. Septic systems are underground wastewater storage and treatment structures, typically used in rural areas without centralized sewer systems. Wastewater from bathrooms, kitchen drains, and appliances is treated in septic systems. A typical septic system consists of a septic tank, piping, and a drain field. In contrast to sewer systems, the installation, maintenance, and repair of septic systems are the responsibility of private homeowners. And thankfully, a septic system should perform without problems over long spans of time, providing the tank is pumped and maintained at recommended intervals. If a tank does malfunction, it's likely due to negligence on the part of the homeowner. And if problems arise, the homeowners can call a septic system service crew and pay for the needed repairs. A septic tank is typically located near the house, and wastewater is led into the tank through pipes that connect to toilets, bathtubs, sinks, and washing machines. Wastewater goes into one side and filters out the other side to the drain field. Most tanks are capable of holding 1,000 gallons of water. I told you that earlier. Inside the tank, the water splits into 3 levels. Everything that floats, like oil and grease, rises to the top. This top layer is known as the scum layer. All the heavier solids, like fecal material and toilet paper, sink to the bottom, which is known as the sludge layer. Between those 2 layers is a layer of clear water. As scum is rinsed out of the wastewater, the tank produces smelly gases, which are filtered through vent pipes that usually funnel out of the home's roof. As new wastewater enters the tank, older filtered water drains out. Effluent goes into the septic drain fields so contaminants and impurities can be degraded. Alternatively, there are also systems that use pumps or gravity to help the septic tank push effluent through sand, peat moss, sawdust, or other material to remove and neutralize pollutants like infectious agents, nitrogen, phosphorus, and other contaminants. Still, other types of systems are designed to evaporate wastewater and disinfect it before the effluent is released into the soil. It's in the soil where microorganisms go to work, treating and essentially cleaning the wastewater before it enters the groundwater supply. Groundwater is the water and moisture found in the ground or soil that eventually makes its way to streams, lakes, and other waterways. So that's how septic systems work. But realize that septic systems can't be used on all lots. To determine if a home site is suitable for a septic system, a percolation test, also called a perk test, is required. Many healthcare departments require a percolation test to determine if the lot's soil can be used as a drain field and absorb or percolate or filter the septic tank effluent. If the soil is not absorbent enough to work as a part of the drain field, effluent can build up and pool on the surface of the ground. On rural sites without municipal sewage systems, you aren't allowed to build a house if a perk test fails. That's why it's so important not to offer to purchase land requiring a septic system until you've had a perk test, or to make an offer contingent upon or dependent upon the site passing soil and perk tests. Lots with soil made of sand and gravel generally drain well and will typically pass a perk test. But soils made of large amounts of clay or bedrock don't drain well and will most likely not pass a perk test. A small amount of clay or rock, though, is usually not a problem. To get a rough idea of the makeup of the soil before investing time and money in getting perk testing, do this quick soil examination yourself. Dig below the topsoil a few inches to the lighter soil and grab a handful. See if the soil has a sticky, damp texture, and see if you can make a small lump of damp subsoil into a thin ribbon or worm shape. If you can form that soil into a ribbon or worm that's 2 inches or longer and it holds together, then the soil has significant clay content and it's probably not permeable enough to pass the perk test. Less commonly, a site can fail a perk test because the soil is too permeable, allowing the effluent to escape before it's fully filtered by the soil and treated by microorganisms. But the only way to know for sure if soil on a lot is appropriate for a septic system is to have an official perk test. Now, what about the costs associated with a septic system? Most people think a septic system is more expensive than paying for usage at a city's sewer system. But that's generally not true. According to homeadvisor.com, the average septic system is anywhere from $3,100 to $9,600, and the national average is $6,100. Steel septic tanks can last up to 20 years, and concrete tanks have a lifespan of around 40 years. With proper maintenance, septic drain fields typically last 20 years, though some can probably last up to 50 years. In addition to the upfront cost of the septic system, there is the cost of maintenance of the septic system. But most systems only need to be pumped every 3 to 10 years, and pumping costs around $200 to $300 per session. And what about repairs? Well, properly maintained septic systems rarely need repairs. Problems with septic systems usually come down to negligence or insufficient maintenance. When a septic tank isn't adequately maintained, its wastewater isn't properly treated, and the outflow fluid can contain contaminants that are hazardous to surrounding waterways and the environment. To protect the sludge layer from rising too high, the system should be cleaned and inspected at least every several years. In order to prevent the pipes from clogging, You should eliminate or minimize grease, hair, and hard particles from going down your drains connected to septic systems. You should also be careful not to plant trees or other heavily rooted plants either on or near the area of soil on which the system lies. Roots and bulbs can damage drainage pipes. So I said all that to say that the replacement and maintenance costs of quality septic systems are much less than most people think. In many communities, particularly those that are sparsely populated and far from sewer systems, septic systems are the cost-effective answer to sanitation. Plus, septic systems are environmentally friendly. Here's why. With sewer systems, energy and chemicals are needed to pump and treat the water. There are concerns about the power needed and the impact the chemicals could have on rivers and other waterways. Those problems are not issues for septic systems. Most septic systems pump and treat water without the need for energy or chemicals. Wastewater is carried away in small, even amounts and then naturally filtered, then cleansed by microorganisms in the ecosystem. In most established neighborhoods within city limits, a sewer system is usually in place, and the option for a septic system may not be available. But if you move into a septic-based community where a sewer line is being newly established, you may have a choice of a sewer system or a septic system for your home. The choice between one system or the other is largely based on personal preference. If you don't want to worry with maintenance of your wastewater system and don't mind being dependent on a centralized city system, then connecting with the municipal sewer is probably the best option. But if you want the most independent, economical, and eco-friendly option and don't mind taking the personal responsibility for your wastewater, then a septic system would be better. Before we end, let's do a couple of quiz questions. Question number 1, true or false? The main benefit from homeowners of a city-owned sewer system is the lack of responsibility for maintenance and repair of the system. That's true. The main responsibility the homeowner has when connected to a municipal sewer system is to write a monthly or quarterly check to the city for their sewer services. And question number 2, which of these statements about septic systems is false? A. A septic system can work in all soil types. B. A septic system is an eco-friendly option that processes wastewater without power or chemicals. C. Homeowners, not the city, have to pay for the septic system, including the purchase of the septic tank and the components of the drain field. Or D. Septic systems cost on average $6,100. The answer here is A. A is false. A septic system cannot work in all types of soil. If the soil doesn't drain well, the lot won't pass the perk test, and a septic system can't be installed. On the next episode, I'll give you an update on my own house build and my experience of building during a pandemic. So be sure to subscribe to the podcast so new episodes will be dropped in your podcast library as soon as they're published. Otherwise, you'll have to try to remember to check back in a couple of weeks for that new show, and I'm sure you've got enough on your mind to remember. Well, that's it for now. I hope you learned as much as I did, and I hope you'll join me again next time for the next episode of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.